So today we're chatting with esteemed leader, beauty professional, coach, and mentor, the lovely Tabatha Coffey. Hi, Tabitha. So great to actually meet you.
Hey, Cheryl, thanks for having me. Thanks for talking to me.
Yes. So you've had quite a busy career for many years in television, and I know you've sort of transitioned now into what you're doing now. So how have you like taken everything that you've done in the past, and how has it created um, the position you're in now and what you're doing now?
Well, I'm first and foremost a hairdresser. I always have been. That's my trade and my passion and what I've done for over 40 years. I don't work behind the chair anymore. Through my experience of being an educator, business owner, educator, television host, I guess, and a mentor for other people in the industry. The transition was a natural one. I mean, as hairdressers, we work with people, right? So it is about the hair, but it's not only about the hair, it's about our communication skills and our mindset and how we show up and whether we believe in ourselves and overcoming the challenges that we have. And that's also what we instill in our clients and our team. So the transition for me was, natural. I help people with their businesses on television, which was amazing. I took it a step further and wanted to truly help people in their lives, which will then impact their business. Um, and I've been a certified registered coach in many modalities for nearly 15 years.
Yeah, I mean, it just sounds like a natural transition when you've built up yourself and your own business and you've gone through all the trials and tribulations of owning a business and being a salon owner and managing people. I mean, there's just so much to running a business than just being behind the chair.
Yeah, and honestly, my focus just isn't on business anymore. I think that is really important. What age and experience has taught me, and also a changing world, right? We live in a world that is very different from what it used to be. So, how we do one thing is how we do everything. How we show up in our personal lives is how we show up in our business. How we show up in our business is how we show up in our personal life. So, everything is so a mesh now, you can't extrapolate one from the other. And, that's what I really focus on with the clients I work on, that yes, it is about being a great leader, being successful, knowing how to manage your money, all of those components, but it's also how are you managing yourself? How are you overcoming what you need to overcome and building your confidence or challenging the limitations and fears you may have? Because when you can do those things, it does impact all aspects of your life.
Yeah, absolutely. It sure does. Last night I was actually on the Vagaro site and I went through one of your classes, and it was really great because I like how it was broken down, super simple. You know, you had your points there, and then with the workshop to follow up. I'm going to follow up with that worksheet, the worksheet part, and I'm going to do those things for sure. And I love how you're talking big picture because, like you said, it's about mindset and all kinds of different things that you bring to the table that's going to make or break it for you.
Yeah, and again, that's always fluid, right? You can be incredibly successful, and that doesn't mean that that's an end point, right? We sometimes have this view of success as that is our end point, and then we just coast and cruise along, and we can't do that. There is always room for growth and expansion and change and, you know, morphing ourselves and our business and our skills and everything else that goes along with that. So, it was a great, I love doing the Vagaro masterclass. I felt like it was a really nice entry point wherever you are in your business or your life. You could come in and watch that and hopefully get something out of it, or even just sit with yourself and challenge yourself a little bit of maybe where you needed to look at some expansion and growth.
Yeah, one of the points there was talking about fear, and we all have this insecurity, and that we're not
Mhm.
good enough, and maybe we're not quite there yet. I know I have it. And then at the same time, there are things that we can do that we just dive in and just overcome those fears. So, how do you get to that point of overcoming the fears? Like you first have to, like you said, understand what the fears are.
Yeah, you have to embrace them. I think there's fear is scary. It shows itself in many different ways. We all have it. It's natural. It's built into our DNA as humans. We're meant to have it. It is a very valuable guiding source for us. But we tend to treat it as a red light and a stop because it's uncomfortable or it's a little painful and challenging. So we need to sit with it and then look at where is it coming from. Sometimes the fears that we have, they're not even ours. They're limiting beliefs or conditioning that we've had passed on to us or we've picked up from other people. I think a lot of people have fear now because we live in such an electronic age, which is amazing. But we also see a lot of the images that are the shiny, pretty images, right? And the images of success, or that's the portrayal that people are putting forward. So then we fall into that comparison game with ourselves of, well, why am I not this person? Why am I struggling with this? Or why am I not getting that when they are? And that brings up, the imposter syndrome or the fear of failure or not doing things well enough. So, I think fear is a really great catalyst. I think it's a great ally. I think it's something that we can really expand ourselves and our businesses when we sit with it and really kind of pull it apart and then restructure it to be helpful, to move us forward, not get stuck in, the yucky, sticky feelings of it.
Yeah. And also when you do overcome a fear and then you accomplish something, whether it's a small or a large goal, you get that confidence. So you just have to get over that hump in order to do
Yeah,
that, to get the
yeah,
confidence.
absolutely. And, confidence is a muscle. It is. Confidence is a muscle that is built over time and repetition.
Mhm.
And anytime we're starting something, we are not confident. We're all learners in something, whatever that something is. And the more you do it, and the more you can celebrate the things that didn't go as well. I don't like to call them failures, but the more we can celebrate the things that maybe didn't go as expected or as planned, as much as the things that went beyond our expectations or as planned, the more, yes, the more confidence we build and the more muscle memory we build. So then we trust ourselves more that the fear is not quite as scary and the failures don't, feel quite so big, or the mistakes or challenges we face aren't cataclysmic to us, and we can move forward because that muscle just gets stronger and stronger.
For sure. And you even said something to the fact that sometimes these fears come from other people. These limiting
Mhm.
beliefs could come from your parents or your partner, or we all have to pave our own paths.
Yeah, 100%. We become so conditioned from so many different things, and that can be wonderful and that can be really challenging. And often what happens is we can go to a loved one, we can go to a friend, we can go to a partner and say, oh, I'm thinking of starting a business, or I'm going to charge this much. And they give us their fear, right? All of a sudden they're like, "Oh, you can't charge that much. No one's going to pay it." Or, "Are you sure you want to open a business? That sounds scary in this economy." And it has nothing to do with us and our skill set or whether we're capable or not. It has everything to do with their fear and whether they would actually have the courage to take that step or not. So, again, that's why, what I do when I work with clients, sitting with that fear and unpacking it and really looking at it and trying to work out, is this mine, or is this something that someone has passed on to me? Or I've heard the expression that businesses fail at this time, or you have to do it this way. And is that really true for me?
True. And you really have to go through the motions and navigate through that. The tough thing is the limiting beliefs and trying to reverse that, right? First of all, being aware of what they are, and then, in the moment going, okay, this is it, but this is not my limiting belief. How
Hmm.
do I how do I reverse psychology that? And that's a
Yeah.
bit of a process.
Well, that's also why it's great to have support, right? It's great to have support from community. It's great to have support from someone like me that, is a coach, and there are many others out there to actually work through. It's not my job to decide for you what you should do, but it's definitely my job to partner with you and help you, co-create and kind of pull the threads at, is this true and is this mine? And if it isn't mine, or even if it is true, what would I like instead? Maybe it is true. Maybe you've had some challenges in the past. That doesn't mean that that is your path going forward. You can change that path, but often you need someone that isn't going to, put their baggage onto you, that can just sit with you and help you navigate through it and give you some support and some steps that are actionable.
Right. And that's why it's so important to have a mentor, someone who knows the business that you're in, someone who can help you learn from their mistakes so you don't make those mistakes.
Mhm.
That's a definite great thing to have a mentor.
Yeah, 100%. I think we all need it. I mean, I have a coach, right?
Mhm.
I have a team of people that, when I'm going through whatever I'm going through, or to shake me out of my comfort zone. I'm thinking of doing this, or I want to try that. We all get stuck in what is comfortable and what we know we can do. So it's really good to have someone that can question your ideas sometimes and make you think more expansively than what you do naturally, and can also support you through those growth cycles.
Yeah, I think growing and learning and expanding and thinking outside of the box and thinking bigger picture or thinking from a different perspective. I love thinking big. Like I want to think global. I want to think big.
Yeah.
And so you got to take the steps to get there though, because big is so overwhelming. So you're like, oh, I can't do anything. It's too big. It's too much.
Yeah. Well, most of us don't
It's
think big
paralyzing.
enough, right? Most of us don't think big enough. We think small, not because we necessarily want to, but because it's comfortable and it meets an expectation. If we think big, like you're saying, global, people can go, oh, how am I going to do it? What am I going to do? What's the first step? But it's really great to have those incredibly expansive, juicy, frightening. That's when fear becomes your friend. Have those big, frightening goals that I have no idea how I'm going to get there, but it would be delicious if I did. And the bigger that we can think, not have, smaller, bite-sized, manageable goals to get to as well, but the bigger that we can think and create, the more expansive our mindset and our neuroplasticity comes naturally. The more our imagination is sparked, the more our creativity comes into overdrive, which is wonderful. And the more things start to fall into place. So, really big, frightening, delicious goals are just as important as the small day-to-day ones.
For sure. So when you're coaching and working with somebody, what does that look like? Like, do you have these worksheets that they get as a kind of like a homework conversation, then go to your homework kind of thing? Like, I guess it's different for everybody too, but what is there like a process to that?
Yeah, there is. It's different depending on who I'm working with. I have people that come to me across all industries, not just in the hair industry, and also across all age groups and where they are in their career or what they're actually looking for. So it's very tailored to who I'm working with, the resources that I provide for people. I do two things. So I work privately, one on one with clients, and then I do live monthly group classes. So both are always supported with information, follow up, resources, whatever it is. If it's a monthly community class, then whatever the topic is of that month, there'll be a worksheet or journal questions or a meditation or whatever it is that supports whatever it is we're talking about. When I work with my clients, the first thing is them to set What are the goals you're looking for? How can I support you? What are we working towards? What are we co-creating together? And then I take from the front and work backwards and give you the support you need through, yes, resources, book recommendations, follow up, accountability check-ins, and accountability checkpoints to make sure that you are holding yourself accountable, but you also have a partner there. You have someone to answer to if you have a hard time doing that.
Yeah, I think for solopreneurs, that's the tough part, is the accountability partner. I think it's a great idea because you set some goals for yourself, but there's no boss saying, hey, is that deadline met? Have you done that yet? Right? So
Well,
having
yeah.
someone to connect with and go, how's your week? Like, let's check in is a
I
great
also
idea.
think I also think when you're solo, you can get so caught in the weeds, right? You're so busy taking care of the day to day or taking care of the clients that are coming in and doing what you need to do that sometimes time management is an issue, sometimes energy management is an issue. And sometimes it's easy to stick your head in the sand, right? And that's okay as well. We all go through those things. So having someone that is there, not that you have to answer to, that can help you find better resources and better ways to perhaps manage your time, manage your energy, or look at where you need to prioritize is really helpful for all of us.
Yeah, I love that you said energy, like energy management. It's really crucial that we take care of ourselves, and especially in the industry that we're in, where we're behind the chair and we're constantly, taking in everybody's energy on a daily basis. That's a lot. So you really need to like shut down and like recharge your phone. You got to recharge yourself and your body. So what kind of things would you do to recharge and get your energy back?
Well, I one of the things that I do, I'm actually a somatics coach. So I'm really big on our mind-body connection. I think it's incredibly important, especially what we do in the industry. Typically, it's changing, which is wonderful. But typically, a lot of hairdressers don't take care of themselves. We don't. We don't have the best diets all the time. Doesn't mean we don't eat well, but often we don't hydrate ourselves enough, or we don't eat frequently enough, or we don't just take care of our overall well-being. And our body really holds all these emotional stores in us. So when I work with clients, um, everyone needs to find their own outlet. For me, meditation is huge. Um, it is an incredibly important part of my day. It's no different. I call it energetic hygiene. It's no different from brushing my teeth and taking a shower. It's just built into my day and it's part of what I do. Yoga is a really big thing for me as well. I go every day. I told you before we got on, I just came from a 2-hour yoga class. So that is built into my day as well. I think there are so many things through breath work and yoga and eating well and just movement. I think, again, for hairdressers, we get stuck in a spot, right? We have this radius around our chair and often we don't move. So it's learning that we're holding all this tension in our body without releasing it. And that tension often correlates to emotions we're holding as well. So we can feel tired and we can feel maybe a little stress from the day, but we hold all of that in our body and then that starts to build up and we start to feel overwhelmed and we start to feel our self-doubt kick into high gear and we start to feel all these emotions come in. So it's learning to kind of track it and release it is incredibly important. And I think a lot more people are mindful of that, which is wonderful. And it's, again, having the tools that you can do throughout the day to support you in all ways so that we're approaching everything we do in our lives and our business in a whole way and a
Yeah.
holistic way.
And I noticed that people hold tension and stress in different parts of their body. Everybody's different. Like some of it is like stomach issues. Sometimes it's headaches or neck or back or whatever it
Yep.
is. You really just hold that tension in your body, and which is why yoga is such a great release, and a great thing to do because it's really just like stretching and moving the energy and the blood flow and everything. And
Yeah.
you know, I sit here often just in front of my computer like we are right now, like Oz, like Beauty Oz here behind the chair, you know. And I realize sometimes I don't move, and you just got to get up and move, especially with winter. You know, it's just been really slow going, and it's when the weather gets nice, to just get out and go for fresh air and connect with nature and have a walk. Like just re-energizing that way is you know, you need to actually schedule this in your day though, I think too.
Yeah, we need to schedule it 100%. We need to schedule it nowadays, and we also need to be observant of it. We need to be really curious about it and observant. And that's where it starts. It's starting with feeling like, oh, when this happens, that happens, right? When I get stressed, I feel this knot in my gut. Oh, when this happens, I feel this weight on my shoulders. And when you can start to pay attention to it and start to track it a little bit, and again, it's helpful if someone can help you move through that, then you can come up with these really small, easy, digestible things that you build into your routine so they become habit, and it starts to move those energies. And you also just start to take care of yourself in a much better way.
Absolutely. So we talk about mindset and things like positivity. How important is positivity in your business and life?
It's everything. I mean, it's everything. You know, what we believe we are.
Yes, 100%.
We just are, right? What we believe we are. So, you know, often we have to be it before we can see it. You have to step into what you want before you can even be what you want. And that can be really challenging for people, because we hold on to our lack or our limitations or our fears, instead of trying to peel those layers back. But I think, I mean, for me in my life and everything I've done, mindset has been everything, even if I didn't have the language before to explain that. Now with age, and wisdom and training, I can sit back and go, oh, it was mindset. When this happened, that was mindset. It wasn't anything else. It wasn't luck. It wasn't a fluke. It was actually mindset. And again, I think we're realizing that more and more now, and we're hearing more talk about it and why it's so incredibly important. But our mood, our mindset, our energy of what we bring to something, and truly how we feel when it is coherent with us, it changes everything we do. And not does it change everything we do, it changes the way people react to us.
Yes. If you come in with a positive, happy spirit, you can only reciprocate in a positive, happy way. Like you are giving that energy and you get that back.
Yeah, and you know, the only point I want to make is I am an optimist by nature, I believe, but I'm also a realist. So, you know, it doesn't mean that you have to put this fake smile on and feel like everything is, you know, rainbows and unicorns all the time, because it isn't. And that's okay as well. But when you can recalibrate your mindset and look through a different lens and perspective, even when you're going through those challenging times, you learn to give yourself the grace and the space that you need. And you also learn that it is changing. Our emotions are weather patterns, right? And they're going to change, and we have these ebbs and flows, and everything is always fluid. So we don't get stuck in that. So, you know, having a positive mindset isn't about being happy and positive all the time. It can be facing reality and facing your businesses or facing something you're going through, you know, with your eyes wide open, but also knowing that you can handle it when you do have the right mindset.
Yeah. And challenges are going to constantly come our way, and we just have to step back and say, okay, what have we learned from it?
Mhm.
And I guess that's the way to spin it so that it's not so devastating, because everything in life is about learning lessons, and we're learning every day, hopefully.
Mhm.
And hopefully we're open to learning every day, and that's a big part of it too.
Yeah, I mean, challenges really are lessons, and it's incredibly hard and sometimes really painful when you're going through those things. But it's looking at what did it show me, and how did I grow, and what did I learn, and what do I choose to move forward with? And all of those things, again, can sound easy on the other side of it. When you're going through it, believe me, I've gone through it. I know that it doesn't always feel that way, but I also know that having the right mindset can help you navigate through those really challenging, unsure times.
Yeah. And having someone like yourself who can help somebody through those challenging times. So how do we find you? How do we connect with you? I know you're doing these monthly virtual group classes, right? Where can we find you there?
So you can come to my website, which is tabathacoffey.com, or on Instagram. It's me. There are links up there for all of that. You can also visit Vagaro for the monthly class if you would like to see that I have for the masterclass at Vagaro. And again, if you wanted to work with me privately, it's through my website. I have my monthly classes. I actually do two classes a month. There's a library of information there as well. I record all the classes. It is everything mindset and growth orientated. That's what I focus on. It's a really great community. So it's Q&A, it's live, but we do questions, and I do social hours as well, where we just hang out. No agenda, just conversation. Bring questions if you want, or just meet and greet and talk to each other. It's a group of entrepreneurs, all age groups, which I really love. And that, again, is through tabathacoffey.com or thrivehive.co, which is where I host all my classes.
That sounds amazing. Well, I think you're going to see me there. I'll
Love
join.
it. You have an invitation.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, I really appreciate chatting with you today. I already knew I loved your energy, so it's fantastic meeting you for the first time, and I hope to see more of you.
I hope so. And you have to let me know how the masterclass worksheet went.
Yeah, absolutely. It's on my list, my to-do list today.
All right, good. Make sure everyone, if you're listening, go and download it from Vagaro.
Love it. Thanks, Tabitha.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, have a good day.